Welcome to Top Shelf, where we seek truth,
opinion, perspective,
and we seek solutions.
And I'm liking season 4 thus far. You know what I'm saying? There's been a lot of conversation going on, a lot of political conversation, if you will.
I don't think this one would get as heated as the other one got. But we'll see. You never know with any of these topics.
Yeah. Let me tell you, this is I said this is going to be the most explosive season. And I don't know if everybody is ready. I don't know if our village is ready. I don't know if people that are just walking by and they just listening to the podcast is ready. I'm getting different things about the podcast. Like, did y'all get a lot of reviews from the last episode?
Yes, I did.
Definitely did, man. Definitely did.
Yeah, I got one of my friends DM me and he was like, "Yo." He was like, if y'all would have had me on there, I wouldn't hold back. I was like, oh, God. well, we're going to have you on there.
Yeah, man. You know, with those topics, man, they get very heated. They get very passionate. You know, it's just like any politics and religion.
Yeah.
Those two things is always going to stir the pot with those two topics.
Absolutely. But you know what we need to get passionate about? We need to get passionate about prayer because we ain't even pray yet.
Word.
So what we need to do, we need to pray this episode in. I nominate my brother Anthony to pray us in with passion, if you will, sir.
Lord God, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing us to come back once again to give an amazing conversation, Lord God. But you know always that you are in the forefront of our conversation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. That was perfect. Sir. That was right on point. Let me ask you, fellas, what is one self-care thing y'all done this week? Or it could have been last week.
Oh, that's an Anthony question.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I would say just the gym. Going back to the gym, going back to my normal routine.
Right.
I kind of had slacked off this summer, truthfully, and because I had a lot going on. I had my daughter, which made it a little. I want to say made it challenging. It's just that I just dedicated more time to her, and instead of like going to the gym, but going back to the gym, that's my self-care. That really is my self-care. That and like listening to a lot of worship music, because spiritually that takes care of the spiritual part of my self-care. So
I love it. What about you, Anthony? What is one self-care thing you've done?
I don't know if this is self-care because I was just thinking about what I've done, but dealing with work politics and realizing that it's just work politics. And you really have to learn how to mentally not bring it home. So I think for me, not bringing work politics home and dealing with it from 7:15 to 4:15, and that is it.
Okay. So for Jeff, it's been getting back into the gym. For Anthony, it's been like knowing what not to bring home. And kind of like leaving problems and politics where they need to be at work and everything like that. I think for me, what it's been is making sure that I get back in shape. And I've been physically going to the gym. I've been like doing at home workouts and doing cardio outside, like doing walks. And then I discovered a pool that's not too far around or away from me, so I've been doing that as exercise too, which has been great, man. Let me tell you. To add to that too, I feel like hanging out with some of my friends from church and stuff like that, fellowshipping, and that's been amazing because it's just like hanging out with different believers, discussing life too, like with food. That's my favorite thing to do.
Life and food.
Can't
go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that.
I'm
bro.
in the mood, That's the best. Being at a cookout with no worries.
Facts.
Shoot, I swear, there's no place I'd rather be. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me tell you, self-care is one of those things that you think about. How important would y'all say is knowing self, like knowing who you are, knowing yourself, and everything like that? How important would y'all say that is on a scale of 1 to 10?
A 10, definitely. I think that's very important.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's one of those things where it's like, as you get older, you really realize who you are a whole lot more. Because like when you're younger, it's like, okay, I got these friends, I got my car, I got school, I got these certain other things that are in my life, and I'm just trying to figure out what to do. And then as you get older, you transition, and then you like, okay, wait, I kind of got friends. I'm figuring this out, and school is done, and now I'm figuring out my career, and then it becomes like, this is who I really am when you're standing in front of the mirror. And then you get further along, like I think further in life, I found out about this thing called love languages. These things called love languages, right? And finding out like my love language and what that looked like. So if for those for our village,
this is where we're going.
Yeah. So for our village, if you don't know what the 5 love languages are, well, first and foremost, the 5 love languages book was by a guy named Gary Champman. He's also the author of 4 Seasons of Marriage, 5 Love Languages of Children, and 5 Languages of Apology. And his book came out in like the early 2000s, I believe, and it's been out for a long time. And a lot of people base their relationships on the love languages thing. Yeah, it's either that or horoscopes.
Yeah,
and we all know horoscopes go up and down, but there's
like, man, she's a Cancer. Can't rock with that. She's a Pisces. Nope. She's a Leo. Hell no.
You said a Cancer?
So she's a Cancer.
Yo, my wife is a Cancer, Jeff.
Well, that's why she married you. She didn't marry me.
Wow.
Wow. Lay it all out, Jeffrey.
Tell me how you really feel.
No. I say that with all love, man. All
I'm laughing. It's all good. No, but
I'm compatible with Cancer. That's the funny thing about it. That's actually one of the zodiac signs that because I'm a Scorpio. So technically, that I'm supposed to be compatible
with, supposedly, right?
Cancer, Virgos.
Yeah, the Virgos is me.
And I think I want to say Pisces, maybe, possibly. I don't know. But I know those two. I know those two for sure. Cancer and Virgos. I know that for sure.
Okay, that's what's up. But for those that don't know the 5 love languages, they are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Quick question to you fellas. We are all married. How long did it take y'all to figure out y'all wives' love languages? Or love language?
I would say for me, it was right away.
Right away?
Yeah, because with my wife, she right off the bat, like she expressed what her love language was, and I saw it off the back. Like her love language is physical touch. And anybody knows my wife, she's a very loving. She loves to hug and all that stuff. She's super affectionate. Absolutely. Even with her friends, that's how she is. And so I already knew just right off the bat, okay, that's her love language is physical touch. So it didn't take me long to figure that part out of it. I think her second love language is quality time. And so that's the other part where it's like, that's the one that maybe was a little bit different. where not I want to say different where I didn't know off the bat. It was just like, okay, so this is the other part of your love language. Because I think sometimes we base our partner's love language off of ours. So
Mm.
yeah.
And so her favorite song by Marion is Touch.
Yeah. Basically.
Oh, and what about you, Aunt? How long did it take you to find out Janelle?
It took me quite a while. And I say that because it's like sometimes you have a love language,
Mm-hmm.
but you still are figuring out yourself.
Right.
So I think in every season was different. But I think this season is more quality time
Okay.
and gifts.
Okay. Quality, and she likes like she love. Does she love gifts?
She's yes, yes, sir.
So Anthony, let me get this straight. So her birthday coming up. If
Oh
you show
Lord,
up with no gift, it's
oh
over for you.
Lord. Her birthday gonna be turn up. That's all I gotta say.
Listen, it's gonna be the Thompson experience. That's what's going to be.
That's all I can give, bro.
That's it. Whatever happened to like writing her a note or something like that?
I'm writing you a 4-page letter.
That's all you can do. For me, I feel like when we started dating, I filled it out a whole lot more when we started dating, and then we started having conversations, and I started seeing her around people. That's when I figured it out.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
but she's not just one. Like Sabina's not just one love language. She's like multiple. She's definitely quality time, definitely physical touch, and she's definitely acts of service. Like definitely. Like, but if I had to pick one that she's the most, it's definitely acts of service. She loves action. Like it gotta be like done. Like let's get this done. If you say something, you gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? More than anything. Um, do y'all feel like if you don't know somebody's love language, you can't have a healthy relationship?
Yeah, I think there'll be a struggle because you're not gonna know how to feed that person's feed their spirit, feed their soul, what they need in that relationship or even marriage, if you know when you get to that point. So I think understanding who the person is, and by understanding who the person is, you're gonna understand what the love language is, so you can know how to like navigate with that and know how to feed that. Because I think sometimes what happens is and I said this before, we base somebody's love language off of ours. So if somebody is a touchy feely person, essentially like
Right.
affection, like my wife, she is, her love language is affection.
Right.
And so what happened, I'm the opposite. Like my love language is quality time and words of affirmation. Those are mine's words of affirmation. So
Okay.
you know, affection is probably like at the bottom of it because I'm not really an affectionate person. But because she's affectionate, sometimes she thinks that's the way I need to be fed, and that's the opposite. Like if there's something wrong with me, or I'm not in a good mood, or I'm upset, sad, whatever emotion that I'm having, right? Her first reaction is like, I'm gonna love on my husband, but I'm gonna love on him by giving him affection. And for me, it's the opposite. Like I don't want that. I actually want space, or I actually want maybe like words of encouragement. That's what I need. Because again, that's my love language. So I think again, it's very important to know what your partner's love language is and know how to feed that love language.
And do you feel like it's hard to meet in the middle, or was it a balancing act in the beginning?
I think it's always a challenge
Okay.
because by nature we're selfish, but we're also unselfish, right?
Yeah.
We want our needs to be fed, and if it's something that we're not used to or uncomfortable, it's just not really our thing. But it's the opposite for the other person.
Right.
You have to learn how to compromise, and I think that's one of the biggest things when it comes to relationships, when it comes to marriage. Like you always got to learn how to compromise. You always got to learn to meet in the middle, somewhere, because that's the only way that both people could be satisfied. That's the only way that both people could be fed as far as with their love language. So I think in the beginning, for most couples, I think it could be a struggle. Doesn't mean it's a huge struggle, just
Yeah,
depending on your how you view it and the level of selfishness that you have or unselfishness that you may not have.
great. That's good.
But I think like yeah, it could be a challenge. That's why you got to know your partner, and most importantly, you got to know yourself too. You
True.
have to know yourself. You don't know yourself, and you don't know you can't stand strong on who you are. That's going to play a role in that factor as well.
Yeah. So Jeff, you told us your love language. Anthony, what do you feel your love language is, bro?
Quality time, bro.
It's straight up and down. That's it.
Straight up and down, King.
Yeah. No, that makes
Quality
sense.
time and affirmation.
Okay, that makes sense. I would say mine is words of affirmation all day, every day. I feel like for men, that's all men is words of affirmation for real.
I think so too.
Because it's just like if you think like we're more than anything, like if you if you were if you think about the environment, I'll say, because we've talked about environment that you're raised in, and then you look on the news. Black men get called so many different names and words and all this stuff, and then
Mm-hmm.
you want to be able to come home and have your wife be like, how could I be your peace, or
Mm-hmm.
like what could I do for you, like what do you need, you know what I'm saying, or like if you go through something, hold your head up, you're a king, you know,
Mm-hmm.
what could I do, like how could I help you, like those things are like, babe, you're doing excellent, like I love this quality about you,
Mm-hmm.
those things, like they empower you, like the other day Sabina said to me, she was like, yeah, I trusted you to get that done and you did it, babe. That was amazing. Like I was like, woo, let's go. Let's go. Like, you know what I'm saying?
My
Like,
son was happy.
yeah,
Facts.
I'm
Happy,
telling you,
happy.
boy. It's not that I don't hear it a lot. It's just that when there's a moment where it's like an unsolicited moment out of nowhere, that's when it's kind of like, wow, like, you know what I'm saying? In the same way that she likes like acts of service, like I'll be like she'll ask me, she's like, babe, can you hire somebody to put this mirror up or something like that? I'm like, okay, I'll find somebody, I'll find a contractor, whatever, or reach out to our landlords to get this thing done. I'm like, babe, I got it, and then I do it, and then she's like, babe, thank you so much. So it's like an exchange. So for me doing the act of service, I get my words of affirmation as well. But I'm not doing it to get the word of affirmation. I'm doing it because I love my wife.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Is like I think some people will do things to get. It's a contingency sometimes.
That's
Sometimes,
true.
sometimes people be like, okay, if I do this for her, like so, like let's talk about this. Like let's say if a man is straight up physical touch, right? And then it's just like, yeah, I want my wife to touch me, whatever, whoopie woo, pause if needed, and then out of nowhere, like he notices, like, oh, okay, she's not touching me, so okay, you know what I'm gonna do? She's gifts, so I'm gonna buy her all these lavish gifts, so she can touch everything,
Everything.
everything. I'm speaking Anthony's language, like, but that's the thing though. It's like, what do y'all think about like people doing things on contingency? Because if you think about it, like, I think sometimes our mind, like people's minds are like that, or our minds are wired in that kind of selfishness, where it's like if you're at church, you be like, okay, if I give this tithe, I know God gonna bless me. If I give it, you know what I'm saying? But we don't give on a contingency. We give out of our love and our relationship and our respect for
Facts.
God.
Facts.
So, so what's any thoughts on the contingencies?
I would say that I think like and my personal opinion on this is that everything should be natural, right? You shouldn't do something expecting to receive something back, right?
Yeah,
At least that's not how I operate, right?
yeah,
Um, like I don't my love language is words of affirmation. So I'm not gonna like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna provide my wife with a lot of physical touch and super affection, or a lot of affection, so I can get words of affirmation
Yeah.
presented to me. You know what I'm saying? Because then I
Hmm.
feel like I have to kind of like force it without, like, I gotta play this game basically.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Like,
Like
will I
there has,
get my words of affirmation today?
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I didn't get it. Okay, so let me go ahead and give her a hug. Let me, rub on her booty. Let me, whatever it is, right?
Hmm.
Things that she likes. And like, oh, then maybe I'll get like some words of affirmation. And to me, I feel like it shouldn't be like that. Again, that's just my personal opinion. I feel like it just should all be natural. And if you feel like you're not getting, like, your love language is not being met, have a healthy conversation with your
There you go.
spouse, with your partner, and
There you go.
and express that, like, hey, I feel like my love language is not being met for whatever reason, because the other person may not know. They may, life is life. Life takes over, right? When you have kids, you have a career, you got, you're involved with your church. When you got 20 different things going on,
Hmm.
it's easy to kind of forget of some of the basic things that you should do when it comes to your marriage or your relationship. So if you feel like your partner's not meeting it for whatever reason, have that conversation, because they may not be aware. There was one time where my wife, Joanna, we had a conversation. She brought it up. She was like, and at first I was like, what do you mean, like, I'm not giving you your physical touch? I'm not an affectionate person. I got a little defensive, right?
Yeah.
And I thought about it, I was like, wait, hold on. I gotta like listen to what she's saying. And then when I really looked at it, I was like, you know what? She's right. I'm not meeting halfway with her, because we agree we would meet halfway in that, because she knows I'm not an affectionate person, but I know she's a super affectionate person. And it would be very unselfish of me to be like, well, I'm not affectionate, so I ain't giving you none. Like, I need to compromise and meet her halfway at
Hmm.
least. So her love language is being met and is being fed. And so
Right.
her bringing that up to me,
Hmm.
it gave me that reminder. So what I started doing, I started initiating more. I started kind of like
Right.
making more of a conscious decision, not so my love language could be fed.
Hmm.
It was really more so I can make sure that her needs, her physical touch, that's being met.
Yeah, because then you could be like, I'm not an affectionate person. You get in the bed, and then you try to rub up on her, and she'd be like, yeah, I'm not an affectionate person neither. So you get nothing. Like,
Word up.
you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us, because sometimes we will do things out of spite like that,
Mm-hmm.
like
Very true.
like because we want to put our guards up and we're not getting what we need,
Mm-hmm.
and so we gonna deprive somebody else of what they need. You know what I'm saying? And do y'all? How important do y'all think it is for men to know their love language? Is it like a thing that is of like the utmost importance, or is it like just a thing of like, okay, it's whatever you figure it out as you go along?
No, I don't think it's whatever, Chief. I think Jeff said it the best. Is like it helps you navigate throughout the relationship,
Hmm.
and like what sparks you, like, or what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Um, I remember when I was doing premarital counseling, and I've always went through life regarding relationships saying 50-50 50-50. It's really 100-100.
True.
And when you
Very
guys
true.
come together,
Hmm.
it's one. So it's like
One
you
flesh.
Hmm.
Papa Yeye. But
Yes.
it's you yourself come and it's an honor when you get to know yourself.
True.
Like not even a relationship, not even like
That's a
you
good.
and
That's a good quote, Ant.
yeah.
Well said.
It's an honor. Like it's an honor because it's like you're it's like you're beginning to understand what God looks like when you begin to know yourself. I think that's something that I take pride in, and I think when you get to know your flesh, your body, and the person that you're becoming, it's an honor. So
I want to ask you this, Ant. So we talked about it within the context or the confines of marriage of a covenant. Like
Yeah.
how do uh like love languages stack up in platonic relationships? Like, should your friends know your love language? Like, is that important that they
Son,
know your
bro,
love
I
language?
was literally gonna ask y'all that.
Yeah.
I was literally thinking that because I think friendships. I don't know if it's the same thing, and I think in regards to friendship, I think friendship should know your love language, but it changes. Like I
Uh-huh.
want to know. I truly want to know y'all guys' love language as brothers. Like what makes you excited? What makes you say, yo, that's my bro? Because for me, it's quality. For me, I had to realize. I remember I was in a conversation and like I was in a conversation, what do you call it, and I was like text people throughout the day, and because that's like me giving my communication and just getting to know people or just making sure that what's it call it, but then someone says like, oh, Anthony wants people to text him all day, and I was like in my head I'm like, no, that's how I build up
Mm,
friendship. That's how I
okay.
built. That's how I build up life, and that's how I thought and made the assumption that
Okay.
that's how you do life together.
Mm-hmm.
And like right there, like for me, it just blocked off like a boundary for me. It's like, yo, I'm not hitting you up. I'm not calling you. I'm not doing nothing. But
Right.
I'm still gonna do life with you. But
Right.
I'm like, damn, what if what if I can figure out friendship love language, because
Mm,
that right there hurt me, and I didn't even know it hurt me so much because
right.
I had to set a whole boundary because
Mm-hmm.
You
I'm
felt
like,
rejected.
yo, I felt OD rejected, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you, and
Yeah.
it's like, yo, I really felt rejected, son. But
Yeah.
I didn't know how to deal with it, so I was like, you know what? I did what I did best: set up boundary and set up boundary and keep on going.
You know what it is?
But it's so funny. They might not have like their intention may not have been negative,
Yeah.
because you're doing life, you're doing work, you're adulting. But
Because
in the
that may
Yeah.
not
same
be their love
perspective,
language. That may have been their love language.
Yeah.
correct. So it's like, do we talk the same way how we talk about relationship in
Mm-hmm.
regards of relationship love language? I think we should talk about friendship love language.
Yeah.
How does that look like?
See, and the thing is, it's kind of like a weird, awkward ground, kind of, because
Yeah,
if I'm gonna tell you why. I think it's for men, because if you talk about men and then a man saying like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm trying to figure out your love language," it kind of get weird because when we say love languages, we associate it with relational, and not friendship, right?
Because it's more
So
intimate. Relationships tend to be a little bit more intimate.
exactly,
Yeah.
and then when you're talking about platonic, like there have been friends that have come and gone, and now I'm realizing it's because of the love language thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely
yeah,
because think about it, like the example you gave is perfect, uh and like think about it, like since I'm a person of words and stuff like that, and I'm a person, and I also like, I'm learning more and more that I do like quality time as well. So when when I do spend time with my friends and everything like that, it's about the quality of the time.
yeah.
It is. It's not about the
Facts.
quantity. It's never about the quantity. It's never about like, oh, okay, I'm gonna spend like a day with this person. No, it don't have to be all of that. It can be two
Yeah,
hours. It can be an
Mm-hmm.
hour. You know what I'm saying? I've learned that quality time is not about the length. It's about of course the quality of the time, the measure of it, the conversations,
Yeah.
the
yeah.
what is it, like the getting to the bottom of it, not because I feel like if you can't have these conversations with your friends, then can you call them your friends?
It's a
Like,
fact.
Yeah.
And I think you said something before regards of brotherhood
yeah.
and like that relation, that weird awkwardness,
Yeah.
and like when you said that, that joint just got me so upset. I was like, damn, why do we have to be awkward to share our emotions or share
Yeah.
our feelings without bros. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like that should be normal.
it should.
I don't think it's so much sharing feelings is the awkward part of it. I think it's just the title, and I'm speaking based off of just the friendships that I have and I've had for years. Because with mine's like we've never had any issues expressing how we felt, right? Whether if it's crying on somebody's shoulder, being emotional, whatever it is, or angry, laugh, joke, whatever it is. I think it's the conversation of what that person's love language is. I think with men, what happens is with their friendship is like
Mm-hmm.
you there's a difference between a relationship that you have like with your partner, which is a lot more intimate and versus your brothers, right? Got people who you consider as your friends. Guys who you consider your friends, you have different conversations compared to that you have with your spouse, right? Or your partner. And I think what happens is with guys like you just know because men know men, right? Most men they know men, so it's almost like you can know what that person's quote unquote love language it is, without necessarily like what's your love language, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact Anthony doesn't have to tell me his is quality time because I know from the time I met Anthony, Anthony cherishes quality time, right? My friend Ron, his thing is if I had to put him in under a love language category, it would be like words of affirmation for him, right?
Oh.
Physical touch is definitely not his. Relationship wise and not relationship wise, not his thing. So it's like, but we don't have to have those conversations in order to in order for me to know that. I think like with men, at least the ones that I've encountered and the friendships that I've built, we just understood each other because we hang out with each other. We have certain conversations. It's easier to read. You know what I'm saying? And it's not as much of a high expectation compared to a relationship. Relationships, there's more of an expectation and work that has to be put in. That's what I want to say. There's a lot more work that has to put in. With
Yeah.
brothers, it's not as much work because we don't require as much. We just require as long as you respect me, I respect you. As long as there's like loyalty, then we're good, right? Because we're all going to be different. But I do believe it is important to know what
Jeff,
your
I got a
boy
question for you,
needs.
bro. I got a question. Do you feel like when you start a friendship with somebody, do you feel like you have to tell somebody to be loyal to you?
Nah,
No,
that's
no. Well,
nope.
Or is
well,
that that's just
That's
a
a
well,
given?
given.
Okay.
no, no. So for me, no, I don't. Because to me, I feel like that's an automatic. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because
Yeah.
it's hard to have a friendship with somebody when there's no loyalty. Because then
Mm-hmm.
there's no
It's a
trust.
fact.
Because those two go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can't say that you trust somebody, but that person is not loyal to you. You know what I'm saying? Because then you're either lying to yourself
Right.
or it's not really a real friendship. You get
Right.
what I'm saying? So I've never, in any of the friendships I've ever had,
Mm-hmm.
ever says like, hey, I need you to be loyal to me, right? Like one of my criterias for you being my friend
Right.
is that. Like I've never had those type of conversations. I never had a conversation as far as like what like if I'm approaching a relationship, you know what I'm saying? When you approach a relationship, you meet somebody, right? You meet a nice young lady, beautiful young lady. You tell your likes and your dislikes. This is what I expect, in a relationship. There's expectations that's there, right? To see if this person fits what you need. With friendships, at least from a male's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
you're not getting those same type of conversations. It's almost like you already know, like, okay, we're gonna be cool. You know what I'm saying? This is how we like operate. And if you see any red flags, like, all right, I'm gonna distance myself. I'm gonna leave it alone. Again, at least from my personal experience and the guys that I've had friendships with and have maintained friendships with, we've never had those type of conversations.
Yeah, because sometimes we get into conversations with people and then like we want to tell them a secret or something, and then
Mm-hmm.
and then we make a disclaimer like, hey, don't tell nobody about this and everything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
I mean, but then though, you
mhm.
know, like, who you can trust, who you can't trust. Like I could call my cousin, right, and I could tell him something. And what if I say, yo, don't say nothing, or not saying it? I know how he operates. You know what I'm saying? So I know like he's not gonna say something if I tell him not to say something. Or let's say even outside my cousin, let's just say, one of my friends, right? One of my
Mhm.
close friends. I can call him and I could say something to him and he's gonna know without even me saying don't say nothing or not saying not to say. He's gonna know what to do with that information, basically, right? Whether it's
Got
to
it.
take it to the grave or he can release it out to whoever you want to release that information with. And I think that comes down to is like knowing who your friends are. Like it goes to understanding like who's in your circle and what
Yeah.
each person is, and also knowing what their needs are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And understanding like, hey, this person maybe operate different with me, but I know based off of the amount of times we've hung out, the type of conversations we had, I know who they are and
Yeah.
I see how they are with other people. So I know how to feed into what they need as far as with a friendship and vice versa.
Yeah. That's great. I think the concept of love language is amazing.
Yeah.
Ever since I found out about it, uh, and figured it out and everything like that. I think knowing your family's love languages too is like, because you know where you stand with
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a universal thing, except
Definitely.
for when it comes to like work, co-workers and stuff like that. I feel like that's when the line is kind of like, because you're not as close unless your coworkers become friends.
Yeah.
I think there could be a line drawn, but with family, I think it's very much important that way there's no confusion. Like Jeff, you said earlier, like to have a conversation, right? In love, to be able to make that conversation happen, because if not, you'll get somebody silently screaming, literally trying to figure out, and you're trying to figure out like why they so mad, like what I'm saying, like
Mm-hmm.
unless you have that conversation,
Yeah, I
you
mean, and the more you spend time with somebody, the more you're going to know, even if you
yeah.
don't have the conversation. Like with siblings, like let's
Facts.
say like families, like if you grow up with your siblings, you know who they are, right? Like I
Yeah.
grew up with my brother, I grew up with my sister, so I know their likes and dislikes. I know what quote unquote their love language is. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And I know what they need, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Because you grow up with the person, you know the person. It's like you may not necessarily have to have those conversations,
Yeah.
but you know, and I think that's the same thing even with friendships. To go back with that, it's like the more you hang out with somebody, the more you know what their needs are as far as what their love language. You know their personality. You know
Yeah.
what ticks them off. You know what irritates them. You know what they love. You know what they like. You know if they're feeling down, what they need. Do they need a drink? They need words of affirmation. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? They need, whatever it is, right? Or they like to, they just want to just hang out and spend time. Like I know if Anthony's down, you know what I'm saying, and he's into it, he's gonna want to have a conversation. He's gonna actually want to spend time. He's gonna want to link up because that's his thing. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Fred, I know what you is going to be. You're going to need some encouragement. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Words of affirmation. I know these things without you guys to say, tell me these things. I know if just from spending time with you guys and seeing how you guys operate. And I think that's what tends to happen, or the difference again
Yeah.
between relationships
Hmm.
versus like families and friendships, because there's a different time that you, not almost a different time. You when you meet somebody, you're just meeting them, whatever you're 25, 30, or whatever. Not saying that doesn't happen when you have friends, but a lot of us who have friends, or even with friendships, especially families, you know them for much longer. You get what I'm saying? So you
Hmm.
like Fred, you know your brother. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You grew up with your brother. So he doesn't have to tell you like, yo, Fred, this is my love language. If he told you that, you're gonna be like, well, I kind of already knew that. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
you grew up with your brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's gonna be 99% of the time it's gonna be accurate, but what I am saying is like you're gonna have a good idea
Yeah.
exactly what your brother needs. Same thing with your
Yeah.
sisters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My brother's love language is roasting.
There you go. See, there you go. He love to crack jokes. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
he loved the roast, bro. I tell you that.
There
And
you go.
cooking, he
There
loves
you
cooking for
go.
people. He loves cooking for people. So I would
Yeah.
say this is acts of service.
Mhm.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. Because it West, I mean, West has changed though a lot, and because you get to see people like in your family more than anything. Like, what would y'all moms be? Do y'all know your mama's love language?
Active
Like
service.
acts of service. Okay. What
Mhm.
about you, Jeff?
Love cooking for people.
Oh yeah. See. What about yours, Jeff? You know your mom's love language?
My mom's love language is same thing, acts of service. She loves to
Hmm.
she loves to service people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
My mama's is receiving gifts. She loves some gifts, boy. I tell you, along with words, like gifts and words, like she like Deborah loves some gifts, man. Let me tell you. She was like, "You got me what? Okay, okay."
Like you didn't have to.
You didn't
Thank
have
you.
to, but we did.
Oh,
And what
man.
about y'all? What about y'all fathers?
My dad, at this stage, I would say it's quality time.
Say
Yeah,
Quality time.
yeah. What about yours?
quality time. I give a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
I went over there to like help him because he still trying to figure out the computer stuff
Mm-hmm.
to help him pay the bill. But I had something to do, so I spent like 30 minutes there.
Yeah.
He called me and said, "Son, you come and you go." That's his way of telling me that basically you came and you just left. Like you didn't spend no time with me.
Oh, got
But if
it.
you didn't
Good.
understand like
Good.
one the language and the culture, you didn't realize like, oh snap, he wanted me to spend more time with him.
Yeah, I would say my dad's love language is complimenting Sabina. Like that's his love language.
Compliment Sabina.
He loved complimenting my wife.
He's
Not
like,
enough.
What?
he's like, yo, pops, I love you, but I'm gonna need you to
Yeah,
call me back.
yeah. You gonna get you gonna get checked, boy. Like, nah. As I get to know him, he's more like he's always been a dude of words. Love words.
To compliment my wife.
Love to get texts. Yes. And my father-in-law's, I'm closer to my father-in-law, so I would say his is Papa Yeye's quality time. He definitely is quality time. Like he always, we leave PA, he be like, "When are you coming back?" Like we
Yeah.
were like, "Bruh," I was like, "We just left." But I love Papa, and
Shout out to Pop, yeah.
and it's important. It's definitely important for all of us to know, and it helps everything. Because I, like Anthony mentioned, when I was in my premarital counseling as well, like Pastor Ernst, he mentioned, like he was like, "Do y'all know each other's love language?" And that's an important thing for you guys to know, because it's going to help you going forward.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
One of my questions is, do you give yourself your own love language?
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Let me tell you something. And let me tell you something.
Like my self-affection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However that will look like for you.
I want to say, yeah. And you know what's crazy? My wife literally told me this the other day. She was just like, babe, she's like, you running around, your birthday's coming up and everything like that. Why don't you give yourself a gift? Like, you work hard, you do this, that, and the third. Why don't you do that for yourself? I was like, yeah, you're right. I was like, yeah, you're right. I do work hard. And I was like, I should give myself. So I bought myself a gift for my
There you
birthday.
go.
You know what I'm saying? And my wife is already, doing things. And I'm just like, yo, I bought myself some Jordans. You know what I'm saying? Just, something light, some
You know,
space jams,
you know what's funny is that like I'm not big on receiving gifts, right?
Yeah.
Not at all. Obviously that's one of the five love language.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like to answer your question, Anthony, as far as like how would I treat myself or like do I feed myself my own love language? It would be what Fred says, like I actually like to buy myself stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because to me it's like I work hard and I feel like, okay, you know what, I always treat myself to a gift. So like anytime I get paid, I always budget out like a certain amount, like, okay, this amount is for me. So this is something where I could buy whatever it is that I want that's within this budget. And I do that because and that comes from actually growing up not always having a lot.
Yeah.
Even after times, you know what I'm saying, I couldn't like afford to buy certain things, or like even when I was working, when I was younger, like a lot of my money was just going straight to bills, right? Like it was like paycheck to paycheck. But once,
Mm-hmm.
I got into my career and I started making, good money, it was like, okay, my mom always told me, like, pay your bills on time, make sure you take care
Yeah.
of your financial responsibility, but never forget to treat yourself.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
me, I would do that. And for me, that's feeding my love language, even though receiving gifts is not my thing. You know what I'm saying? But me treating myself to a gift, whether if it's like buying a pair of sneakers or buying like a new T-shirt or a hoodie, or like back in the day used to be like CDs. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a big music person, so I would like or go on iTunes and download like or buy different albums because like those are the things that kind of like feeds me in a
Yeah.
sense. So, but that would be that for me that's what it would be for me, and I try that's to answer your question, Anthony. Yes, that's how I feed my love language.
And what about
And
you, Ant?
and the reason why I asked that question, and I'll transition to your question, Fred. The reason why I asked that question because I begin to learn or begin to understand when people figure out their love language and they go into a relationship, they are seeking that, and you can literally damage a relationship
That's good, man.
because you are trying to get something out of somebody that might not be them. So yes, like Jeff said, yes, it's quality time, but at the same time, whoa, I might not know how to do this quality time thing for you. I mean, sorry, for touch. I might not be able to know how to do those stuff for you, but we can meet in the middle. And I had to learn that in regards to my relationship, being able to like meet in that middle,
Yeah.
because you can start to overanalyze like, oh, this person doesn't love me or this person doesn't do that.
Right.
Very
So
true.
I transitioned to your question, and that's why on Wednesdays I write in my journal. Like I put in my Google Calendar, write in my journal, or I take myself out. I go to the bar around the corner, get my Blue Moon, and I watch a game. Cause that's my sense of peace. Because I'm allowed. You're allowed to love yourself.
That's
And
good.
we
Say that one
forget.
more time for the person in the back. Ant.
Don't worry, King. You're allowed to love yourself, bro. And you only got one life to live, so love on yourself.
Yes, yes. And then how can you expect to get something from somebody that you never even given yourself?
That's very true.
You gotta be able to give yourself, like if Jeff, like let's say if Jeff like yo, I need some more sneakers. Yo, I'm gonna treat myself this week.
Yeah.
Do it. Most definitely. It like you said, within the budget. Within
I'm actually treating myself tomorrow.
hey,
Actually,
hey,
Yeah.
hey,
speaking
hey,
of that,
go ahead.
and so I got to get these Jordan 6 that's dropping. So
I ain't even mad at you. Shoot, I had to get these Jordans that I look. Let me tell you, when it's real, it's real. Like
sir,
Like Anthony said, if he want to get himself a new suit, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Boom, like yeah, that's the suit I have my eye on. It's my measurements. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
If I want to like get buy me some new bartending equipment, you know what I'm saying, or something like that for the house, so I can make some drinks for me and my wife or people that come over. I'm gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not only given to me, it's given to us. It's pouring back. You
yeah.
know what I'm
You
saying?
have to pour back to yourself.
Right.
You pour into the cup of your spouse's cup or your partner's cup.
Yeah.
But you got to make sure you pour your own cup for yourself too.
Facts.
You
Please.
have
I think
to
that should
like
be our
Anthony
part two
said.
of this conversation, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Anthony said, you have to like love yourself.
Yep.
That's super important because you can't have the expectation to somebody love you and fill that cup up if you don't even know how to fill your own cup up. It's just not going. It's
Mm,
not going to happen.
that's really
You know what I'm
good.
saying?
That's real good.
And if you've ever been in a relationship with somebody who struggled in that, you
Yep.
understand the struggle of that relationship. Because no
Yeah.
matter what you do, you can meet that person's love language,
Mm-hmm.
right? But because they don't know how to love themselves and you're feeding into their love language, they tell you this is what their love language is. You know that's your love language, but sometimes they don't know how to receive it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that causes a whole another set of problems. So what
Absolutely.
Anthony said was very much key as far as it's okay to love on yourself, and it's
Right.
okay to feed your own love language, whether if it's words of affirmations, act of service, gifts, a physical touch, whatever how you want to interpret that, that's your business. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, love on yourself. So when somebody's ready to love on you,
Yes.
it becomes so much easier. And then you don't have to have this high expectation that my love language has to be met 100%. Because like what Anthony said, it is a 50-50. You got to meet halfway because your love language, it may be different from your partner's love language. And it may
Right.
be a struggle. Like me and my wife, her love language is physical touch. That's 100%. You know what I'm saying? She's a very touchy and affectionate person. She loves that. I am the total opposite of that. My It's not physical touch. I don't care for physical touch like that. But I had to learn how to compromise. Like Anthony said, you know how to compromise, and we met halfway. And so our needs are being met, you know what I'm saying, in that regard, or I'm meeting her needs in that regard. And she doesn't have the expectation like, my husband is going to give me physical touch every second of the day, because I know that's
Right.
not his. But I know that he's going to meet at least the expectation that I need, so at least my cup is full.
Yeah, and I know, like, just point blank period. I think the biggest thing I got from this conversation is that relationships are about meeting in the middle, like
Yeah.
meeting in the middle, and finding like a balance, like an equilibrium where you and your partner are both uh loving each other and getting what y'all both need from it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fountain. A relationship is a fountain. You know.
I agree, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do y'all feel like y'all got from one of the key things y'all got from the conversation?
For me, same thing. It's meeting in the middle. Everything comes down to compromise. It comes with any relationship. You have to be unselfish, but you also have to be selfish as well, because you can't
Yeah.
forget what your needs are as well. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's all about meeting in the middle. That's how you compromise, by being selfish and being unselfish at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely. I want to piggyback off both of y'all saying meeting in the middle, and not just a relationship, and not just yourself, but also in your friendship. Like, I think, Fred, you said, oh no, Jeff said it the best. Like, yo, being able to talk to somebody, because like, yo, they may not even know that they did something,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, wait, I didn't even know I did that. My fault. I didn't mean that.
Right.
And being okay to communicate
Yes.
communicate
Mm-hmm.
your love language. And yes, if the person can't do it, don't don't condemn them. Try to see how y'all can learn from each other.
True that. True that. True that. And then
Meeting
do
in the
it.
middle.
Absolutely. So this has been an amazing conversation to have.
Yes, indeed.
And I want to end this with Anthony's quote, because that's what this conversation has been
Yo, you
about.
always know it, baby. Self care's the best care, baby.
That's it. And make sure y'all stream all of our episodes on all the streaming platforms.
Yes,
Anthony, can
sir.
you tell them all the streaming platforms we are on?
My
Anthony.
brother's gonna help me, but it's definitely Anchor.
Yeah.
It's definitely Facebook.
Yeah.
No, let me step back. Facebook got a new algorithm, so it's not Facebook anymore. Definitely Spotify, guys.
Yes.
Please check us out. We are building. We are building. We are
We are
building.
also on Apple as well. That don't forget. And for Jeff, I need, I need from you the website.
I love my guys. So we're available on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Anchor, YouTube. We are also, you can check us out at our website, www.dtopshelfpodcast.com, www.dtopshelfpodcast.com. You can listen to us in any of those streaming platforms, and you never know, we actually may, start having our podcast in other streaming services, but you could definitely check us out. All those platforms are free. If you have an iPhone, you automatically have the Apple Podcast on there. If you have an Android, you can go to Google Podcasts. Spotify, they have a paid subscription, but they also have a free subscription. You could just use a free subscription to listen to our podcast on that. And Anchor and Stitcher. Anchor is owned by Spotify. That's where we do a lot of our recording. But you can also listen to our podcast on there. And Stitcher is owned by SiriusXM. You can listen to that as well, and that's also free. Just download that app. You got it. If that's too complicated for you, again, just visit our website and you get money. www.dtopshelfpodcast. Everything is there.
Let's go.
Let's go, man. Jeff got the knowledge, the knowledge.
Listen,
So with that
listen.
being said,
I need people to like and subscribe and listen.
that's it.
and comment.
Share and comment.
Word up.
Most definitely. And until next time, y'all, remember self-care is the best care.
Let's go.
Peace.
Peace.
One love.